Hello, I'm Sherry St. Marie, and I'm going to start doing some different, interesting, new things for you in 2024. And I've made this decision, as I will tell you as we go through this broadcast, why and what I'm seeing and what I'm looking at. The first little tip is our world is going too fast. So we all kind of need to just calm it down a little bit. I, of course, was on the TikTok of 7-second videos and I could crank them out and I could make them funny. And they were, beginning ones, 1,000,000 views. Some of that is not necessarily so good for us anymore as we kind of look at impact and effect and information moving and industries and businesses. So one of the pieces I'm going to do is slow down and talk longer for you in a couple different formats. So again, I'm Sherry St. Marie. On LinkedIn, I mix everything. I am getting a wide range of my real estate industry, my intelligence out of global things and whatever, my background of the agent stage I'm at and what I've learned along the way, and I swing it all through LinkedIn in a style that most people don't do, or others would say, oh my gosh, you can't do. I have never had the police on LinkedIn talk to me. And then what I'm doing now is also separating into 2 channels on YouTube just so that some of the content can stay out there. So there's a Sherry St. Marie brand that is just everything I want to do any little thing about, whether they be creative shorts that'll start coming, whether they are topics that I want to do these longer 5, 15, 20, 30-hour conversations with you on lots of different things. And I have my Sherry St. Marie brokered by EXP, which is everything having to do with real estate. And a lot of it is also wide swinging business having to do with real estate that you may not even realize. I am going to start teaching for, very excitedly, our brokerage, EXP University, and on EXP University's YouTube channel. So I'll start creating some 15-minute, 30-minute content using my master's level, education ability, my social media ability, and those things. That's who I am for today. This is what I want to get into with you. Sorry about that if you heard that. That was loud. I'm on a new computer. This is what I want to talk to you about today. The first most important word is conscious, right? In the past, when I've talked about this, people laugh at me because they're like, Sherry, if someone's breathing, they're conscious. No, not actually at all. There are so many people breathing, walking around and at work and in the car and with their families and whatever, who are completely almost unconscious. Conscious means that you are aware, that you are evolved, at least to some extent, that you are making a purposeful choice. That's what conscious means, aware. So I would like to take a look at the very end of 2023 here, more importantly, going into 2024, of consciously looking at where are we in terms of business, our lives, social media, humanity, our wellness, what is happening in the world that is both amazing and also tragic, right? And look at how's your industry right now. So each of us are in some sort of industry. My bet is that there's not really an industry moving totally smoothly right now. Let's, as an example, just talk about the movie industry, right? There's a little bit of upheaval happening, shifting out, right? Let's talk about real estate. It is always evolving and things are happening and the public doesn't understand. And I know you don't understand. And it's too bad because there's a lot of misinformation, right? In whatever industry. We are also seeing our work environments changing, of how employees are feeling, whether they're staying or not staying. How is the clash between the owner and not and whatever? We have startup abilities with 1, 2, 3 people that are doing absolutely amazing things. And that's exciting because it gives us all an ability, right? We also have this thing called your brand. Whether you are an individual person And I'm not saying y'all have to be on social media and be a brand there, but you're a brand just walking down the street. Guess what? You're a brand being by the garbage in your neighborhood. You're a brand. So, what I want to do with you today is take a look at these 4 categories of industry, business, brand, and social media, and help you take a look however you want to. So, we're going to take what we're seeing happening in your industry. You're going to look at it and see what trends are you seeing? What things look exciting and good? Here's where I'm a little bit of a rebel, both in startup and in like Trailblaze, right? We're also going to look at your industry and say, when you sit up on top of it, not in it. Most people, this is what they do. They sit in it and they go like this, right? Don't do that. Get up on top of it like you're on, on a higher level, and you're looking out over it. You're seeing all these people behave the way they do. You're seeing what's smooth sailing. You're looking at, but the issue is if you're conscious, you're not looking at it like you normally do, because then everybody goes, oh, it's fine. And we just keep moving when we don't take these stopped places where we step out of it for a while, get kind of calm and quiet. I've been walking the beach for 2 months and see what do I see when I'm out of all that. I do not mean that you have to walk the beach for 2 months or whatever. You can go. I go 10, 15 minutes at a time, half hour at a time, 5-mile walk when I can. But you're looking at how's it affecting all these different areas. And then we're going to come back in and see. Instead of us constantly reacting, in a social media thing of you're going to snap back or say something or assume it's correct, or advocate because I need to run you right over your face so that you agree with my way, my beliefs, my thing, because that's the only way. No. Back up and decide your pieces, and then come back out here and just be what that is. I do not need to strong arm anybody into anything. I can be lovely and peaceful. I can be maybe thoughtful and inspiring. I can, if I need to, be snappy and give you something else to think about, right? But I don't have to do this in your face everywhere I go. And I think a lot of that is lost, that we've just started doing that. And so we do that. And so people do that. And so people do that. And it takes a conscious decision to kind of back up and go, what do I see is happening to the quality of life? What do I see is happening to human beings? What is happening to societies? Because there's different societies, right? Depending on where we are living or what is happening or how that society is choosing to behave or not choosing to behave, right? And so taking a look at some of those things and then try to be a little smarter about how we're coming forward. So we're all very aware. We're at this place in history that it's toxic again, right? In certain places. Some places it's beautiful. It's wonderful. This is a real, actual background. It is not one of those fake screens. It's a gorgeous house, beautiful day. It's for real. But we are seeing how some of the things and places we have been in history and are obviously every day creating history are really creating too much of an impact that's too expensive for all of us in terms of quality of life, wellness, health, the damage that we're doing. And so this is why I want to take a look at this of kind of what is good and what is bad. And I see somebody's here in the chat, so I'll check here quick. Hey, Rick, how are you doing from Canada? Thank you so much. Rick is one of my regular attenders. I appreciate that. And half time I just throw these up with little notice, right? So I appreciate you, Rick. I hope that you are doing well up there. This is why I enjoy a lot of social media tools, which we'll talk about later, is the fact that I am somebody who's always been committed to education, but not the boring regular. I was a little atypical student. I love the fact that you could just learn wherever you are and learn from each other. It doesn't have to be you need a title for something or whatever. I can learn just as much from a 3-year-old sometimes. because they have something to teach me. And so these are the things that I want to take a look at for your own selves, for us to start seeing what do we want to do about your own quality of life. What I'm doing always is just putting out information, whether to inspire, make you laugh, make you think, whatever it happens to be. And then you decide for yourself what you want to do with it. I'm not one of those of you need to do this and here's what's the thing. So this is what's cool. It is an opportunity for every one of us, right? It always is. Every single day you're alive, it's an opportunity for every individual. And if you are somebody who's running a company or doing whatever else, yes, of course, it's an option for you as well. For families, for teams, for different type of associations, leaders, whatever. Here's the key. To take a look at what do you want to be? What we usually are doing is telling people, this is our company, here's what's happening, this is what we do, here's who we are. No, why don't you just be that? I am talking less and having more impact because often I'm not going to get into it with you about I'm just not. It is I'm not saying all of it, but some of it's a waste of energy, right? We do this whole, I'm going to tell you how it be. I'm going to advertise to you how it be. No, why don't you just be that? So it is a choice of, again, stepping back and deciding, how do you want to interact in the world? How do you want to interact in the world? One of my core things, and has been for a very long time, is I don't want the negativity. I'm not going to be somebody who's going to come out into the world or on social media or whatever and interact with you in a negative way. That does not feel well to me. I don't want to put that people pollution out there. I don't want to be a crabby, negative person. And so that has been, since I was a teenager, a choice I choose to make. If somebody is crabby as I'm interacting with them in the world, usually my strategy is, smile for a minute, see if I can turn them for a second with a comment. If they're going to continue and that is the way they are, then it's usually, thank you, have a good day, right? Because I don't want to interact with the world like that. When I say interact with the world, I don't mean, I am not at all advocating perfect. There's not a single one of us who are perfect. We all get annoyed. My biggest place I get annoyed is in traffic, right? Or if I get stuck on a robocall, that's usually where I'm at. I need an attendant, right? So we're all going to do some of that, but I think that it's a purposeful good time to step back and decide, how do I want to engage in the world in the categories of my industry, business, my personal life, obviously, and social media in terms of trying to make this a better place. So each of the places that we have the ability to take a look at what's at our disposal, right? There's some incredibly exciting things starting to happen in terms of what we have access to, the ability to use, what we need to stop using, and things like that. Everything that we have is really a tool that we can decide to use. I'll give you some concrete examples. So the real estate industry is always evolving. It has always had lots of different things going on. The public does not understand this, and I'm not giving you any flack about it because it is ever changing every day. I've been in it 21 years. I take more classes and more up to date and more watching the laws than I have ever in my career. And we need to, right? We need to be aware for the public for what's happening. Here's the thing. I can either choose to make comments and make them out of context about my industry, or I can decide I'm not going to do that to myself, my industry that I do love and enjoy. I enjoy the challenge. It's got lots of different nuances and exciting opportunities. Or I can decide I'm going to figure out, how do I best use my talent, ability, skill, knowledge, and insight. So you, just like myself, every single one of us has unique insight because you're the only one that's having the experience that you have, both in your personal life, in your work, and your whatever. Your insight, when you're sitting on this side deciding, how do I want to interact and engage? What is working for me? What is not working for me? What do I want to be doing? What do I no longer want to be doing? That's the stuff that's really exciting. And so I'm asking you to take your industry, and you can do it on a piece of paper, you can do it on your phone, you can do it in your head if you want to. Where are the couple of challenges that you see? How would you, as a brilliant individual, to take those three things and go, here's how I'm going to behave my way in that? Typically, it is not to disparage your industry, right? Or typically, it is not to do it just like the other person, because typically we're in business and people are choosing different individuals that they want to work with or different companies that they want to work with. Some people are choosing because of the challenge. What is my huge differentiation that I'm coming forward with, right? One thing that's happening all of our industries right now is we are a global stage, whether we like it or not. Global's local in every one of our locations, because there's not a single place that there is 100% only that one non-global thing. It's just not happening. So we're all like that. We want to be able to get along. That's hugely important. It affects all of our industries, even if you think you're in a location that, oh, we're not very global here. We don't need that. You do probably, with food and energy and health and technology and advances in a lot of things. What's happening a little bit, if you're watching and even looking at your own industry, is the worse we do getting along, the worse we do. The worse we do getting along, the worse we do. Because what people do is when we do not get along, you buckle down and you back up and you just worry about your own and your people and not you. And those things affect all of our industries, no matter what your industry is, whether we need trucking across states and the states aren't getting along because of whatever it happens to be. Those are the kind of things that you can sit back and take a look at and go, what am I going to be an advocate for in my industry? I'm going to choose not to pollute in my industry, meaning I'm not going to be the negativity and the peace and whatever's not helpful to me. And again, it doesn't matter if you're a formal leader or not. These are things that are still important. You're going to take a look at business. And again, you could be a formal leader. You don't have to be a formal leader. And you're going to look at, where do I want to have impact with an idea? You know, you're an intern. My son was an intern and came up with an amazing idea that really impacted a very large, long history company, right? And it made a difference for them. And it made a difference for a lot of people who are their customers. That's the point, right? What are the businesses that you maybe consciously are going to choose, not in cancel culture, because that's dangerous. And I'll say something about that when I get to social media. What are the businesses that are maybe not right for you to do business with going forward, that you do not need to damage or disparage them? It's just a quiet, conscious decision. Okay, as we evolve, that company I'm no longer doing business with. You may or may not even need to tell them. It's okay, right? Do the opposite, proactive. What are the businesses I want to and choose to do business with? And why is that in my best conscious effort and decision going forward? There are a lot of people who choose to do that. Some want to be wide swinging and work with a ton of different businesses. Some choose, I'm going to align with our social dynamics, our quality dynamics, our values, whatever it is you're deciding for yourself. These are the ones that I'm going to be doing business with. We look at our image in business, as we should all the time, as it evolves, right? In the United States, we've become an incredibly casual culture. Sometimes that is nice, and sometimes it is, oh my goodness, right? As we evolve and look at what kind of leader or interaction do we want to have, we look at how do we want to be behaving? Because sometimes just because the behavior's gotten to be acceptable doesn't mean it's in your maybe best interest. And these are a good time to step back and go, okay, on my one sheet of kind of what I look like in 2024, in terms of what I'm being out there, what am I needing to or wanting to clean up, do different, do better, stay the same of any of those pieces, right? And I like the fact that we have all these different tools that we can be using. Technology obviously is a huge piece. Social media is a huge piece. But here's the important part. We are deciding how to use the tools. They are not going to use us. That's a conscious decision. I think that one's good for everybody, but you decide for yourself. So what conscious tools am I going to decide I'm going to use? What tools am I going to need to learn because I just have to? I'm always in that spot. So there's certain things that I know and understand and they're fun for me. A couple years ago, I had no clue how to broadcast and I was totally afraid to do it. And, and now I can jump on in 2 seconds, doesn't bother me, but there's other things, right, that I don't know how to do. Tools, as we don't want to be so afraid of AI and all these kind of things that we need to learn, are things like deepfake video, just so that you have a basic understanding, so that your staff has a basic understanding to keep themselves safe. These are the kind of things that we're going to decide in keeping our mind calm. These are the tools I'm going to use because these tools are powerful for me. The rest of these 15, I'm dumping out because my mind and my body don't need it. It affects me not well, or whatever it is you're deciding for yourself. Oh, thanks, Rick. We're just checking his comment right there. Here's a separated piece. What would you like your leadership, whether you're formal or not formal, one individual, running a company, running a huge association, okay. What would you like your leadership to look like in 2024? I say this to you because there's an awful lot of people leading. And again, it can be me just walking down to the gas station to say hello to somebody politely who really needs it, right? That's a form of leadership still, because I'm showing that person or the people around that heard me or whatever. I want to add kindness to a day. I want to notice people. I want to have a positive interaction. I want to be able to be the antithesis of what people are too often experiencing in negativity and not getting along well and things like that. But in looking at leadership, I think we have an amazing opportunity right now to step up quite a bit more. I am not somebody who ever wanted to necessarily be some great big huge formal leader. I didn't have it in me. The book Lean In, when it came out, I was like, no, thank you. I would like to much more be involved with my kids and my family life and, work to take care of work, but I didn't want to do that, right? Now I'm having a few more opportunities that I am needing to and wanting to say, okay, yes, I will step up in a little bit more of these capacities. However, what do I want it to look like? I want it to still look like me. I still want it to be can be soft style, can be tough if I need to, right? I want it to still be reflection of what I'm doing in each of the categories of what I'm doing. I'm the one that reached out to several different places and said, I want to get involved in this. This is what I'm interested in. Can I do this? And I went right to the top and just said, because what did I have to lose, right? I sent in a message. The person may or may not respond, right? And I got lucky in several responding. But for me and the people that I'm choosing to do work with, especially in a leadership capacity, they're allowing me to be myself because that's where at least my contribution is, right? And each of us kind of need to be in that category. When we're looking at leadership, it's also things like leading in terms of conscious choice. So we've been doing an awful lot of things for a very long period of time just because we do them. So that might be things that tend to be not fabulous habit, right? It might be something that an industry in terms of tons of waste or anything like that. Leadership also means I'm willing to do the boring thing. I think we've gotten into this world so long that is glitzy and all of these other things, which a piece of that is fine and okay. But the other piece of it is it became really uncool, unwell, boring, not fabulous to be the one who, I'm going to make the healthy choice. Our founder of our company, Glenn Sanford, is really doing a huge advocacy, which I support totally, of if our agents aren't healthy, they for themselves first, and then their families and loved ones don't have anything. We aren't good to work if we are not well and taking care of ourselves and advocating for all the pieces that we can. A lot of companies won't talk about that because it seems boring or into your social, personal life. That's a huge component of you being able to do your work or be a leader or be a whatever role you are, parent, whatever the pieces that you're choosing to do. Not often do we step back, and here's the key, and look at how would you like to lead differently? Because what we tend to do is we get in a style of how we lead and we just do that. It is not very often, and usually it's as we move further along in decades, that people maybe step back and look at their leadership and go, do I want to keep leading like this? There are people, and there are a lot of people, even on a weekend, decide, I was doing this. This is not so good. I'm choosing to make a difference here. So I bring this up just for you stepping back yourself and just looking at how are you leading. Here's an easy, concrete example, right? Are you somebody who leads combatively? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct. Do you know what I'm talking about? Is that your style? Do you like to have the jarring, that's what you got to have? Is that in your best interest? Is it in the best interest of people around just because you want to do that and that's your thing and that's how you get juiced up and whatever? What's it putting out there for anybody else? Or the opposite, right? Take a look at, I don't often like to get into heated debates about things. It's not comfortable for me. I'd rather not do it that way. Maybe this particular person that I'm working with needs me, which I actually am now thinking of a couple. Sure, we need you to step up and be more direct and just tell us how it is. Don't be so kind. Okay, maybe I need to look at my leadership in that capacity, maybe at least with those particular people. And where am I willing to say a little bit more? So an example would be, this is easy. I have a client who is remodeling their home, and I always try to be really, really aware of, I don't want to force their choices because they are living with it, paying with it. It is their space. And this person I know very well, and she said, I need you instead, Sherry, to just tell me what you think. You're the one that knows the industry down here. You know the houses that, can be higher end and whatever. I don't want to make a mistake in what I'm doing. Okay, so I stepped up, went the other way. We picked out everything, kitchens, baths, whatever, we're done. And she's like, Sherry, that was so valuable to me. Instead of you super supporting in your kindness, this is mine and this is whatever. And so these are some of the things that I'm talking about. Here's where I want to spend a little bit of important time. We will have social media for however long in the foreseeable future. We have been in it for more than a decade. It has affected us all in how we are feeling, in the way humanity behaves now, and all those sorts of things. I am absolutely certain, as a teacher and as a mom and all of that it definitely, with a nanosecond response and cranking out and visual and stuff and auditory, is affecting our brain and the way we think and the way we're wired. And it is not the young people, it is every one of us that's on it, right? It tends to go quickly, especially now. It tends to go volatilely sometimes. It is also an amazing place to learn, however you care to learn, in a 7-second, in a 5-minute video, in a longer piece. And so there are beautiful things about social media. I love the fact that I can be connected, that I have had the ability, particularly on LinkedIn, to meet people I never would have met in my lifetime, from local and all around the world, which is amazing and interesting. What I'm going to ask you to do in the category of social media is, I think breaks every once in a while are wonderful because they help us all kind of come out of that habitual and what we've been doing. I think the other thing that's great going into 24 is to decide a couple different things. What does my social media look like? Do I need to change it up? Because just because I've been doing something and it was my shtick, you may not realize it's old. Even if you think you're still getting all the views and the whatever, and it's changed for a lot of us. Would you like to freshen it up? How would you like to be seen? And I don't mean seen as in a, I'm going to pretend I'm such and such. It is, how would you like to be seen as a more, elevated consciousness level in 2024? When you put out a comment, We are all aware it is a digital tattoo. It will stay out there forever. Even if you delete it, people can still find it, right? Because they have a screenshot or they have something. It is all energy. I'm a huge one on energy. It is all energy. Some of it fabulous. I tend to can be high energy, right? Like right now, I'm a little calmer and a little bit more in the middle. Some, if you see my short videos, they're fast and a lot of energy. I can have a lot of energy. But it's energy that we're exchanging. It's just exactly like this. I'm pushing it out to you and you're pulling it back to me. And this is what's going on all the time. It can be lovely and it could be not nice, right? How would you like your interactions out there to be? Should they be less? Would you like them to be more? And how is the more looking like? As a company, what is the best way for you to freshen up the social media for 2024? We used to be in this era of the influencers when it was just and hundreds of thousands of likes and all this stuff. I mean, it's gone, right? Unless you're a massive celebrity. That's kind of good for us. That was not so fabulous for the general public of everybody. It is nicer that pieces of that are finished. And so when we look at social media and we look forward and back, and whether you're a content creator, you're a viewer, because most are viewers, right? Usually it's 4% that, are posting or something. I'm just asking you to take a look at how do you want social media to interact in your life and how do you not? And then you're going to put those parameters there for yourself. And that's then how you behave. Concrete example is one where I used to be one who would react and engage more. I will do it if it's positive and I want to be able to do that energy. If it is something that is negative, I used to try to explain at least once and try to switch it around. I'm doing less of that. I am doing less of people DMing and me speaking with them on DM, and there's reasons for that. That's good and okay. I typically have been one that I react on the front side because then everybody can see it. Everybody can see it. It's totally fine. Those are the kind of decisions you're making going into 2024. What's good for you? A lot of you are private, and so you are not on social media. You do not want to interact. You want somebody who you're either having a social interaction with, a personal relationship with, a business relationship with. Lots of my clients, I do not want you speaking about me on social media. Don't reference me. Don't post my house or business or thing we just did. Don't do that. These are the pieces that are part of being conscious about social media, both for yourself and your decisions, and also for anybody else that you're interacting with. Just because you do social media the way you do, that's one thing. But if we're involving other people, then there also has to be a little bit of understanding or kindness and generosity towards them. And has their brand for social media at all in 2024 evolved? Meaning that, here's one for me. I used to do the, fun, funny, and some of them a little outrageous TikTok fast, right? Because I could. And there's a creative side to me and a side that can be funny, but I'm also going really fast towards 56. Some of that doesn't look as good at my own choice as I am in this stage. I, for my own self, am taking a good amount of that off the table. So not as much physical comedy as I did for the last couple of years, and things like that. That is a gracious choice for my own self. I am not saying anybody else has to do it. You can do it till you're 100. It's all your own personal choice. That was a piece or a concrete example of something for myself that I'm going, okay, that's not for me so much anymore. It was fun and fabulous. Now this is more of how I would like to use it. And those are things for good. Check one more. So today I wanted to just bring up a couple of these different ideas so that you yourself can take a look at what ones seem like you'd like to address or look at between those categories, right? Of, what are you seeing in your industry, in your business, in your social media, and those sort of things, and how do you want to interact consciously? What are some of the best things that you have the ability to do? That's the entire point of this. You have the ability and the power to make your decisions within these pieces of what you're doing. I think sometimes when the world is a little bit wild and busy, we feel like we don't have as much power or say as we do. And I like to point out also lots of places that you absolutely have lots of choices, ability, options, things you can do. And there is all kinds of amazing things and opportunities happening in each of these industries that we're talking about. So much of it is, who do you align with? Who do you want to collaborate with? What feels good for you to do? What would you not like to be doing? Those are the kind of things that I invite you to just take a look at. What does your evolution in consciousness look like? I appreciate you joining me live. This will stay out recorded. And again, Sherry St. Marie on YouTube will stay out there as wide ranged, all topics. And Sherry St. Marie, brokered by EXP, will be wide ranged real estate in all different things I enjoyed to talk about. I hope you guys have an awesome day. And I always appreciate you also on LinkedIn.